want to share 4 key principles of mobile, and then as we go into that, we'll talk about how does this all fit within an enterprise. The first thing is it's not a phone. Second, there's a wide array of services. Third is there are basics that exist. And last, there's a lot of hype and hope, so how do you navigate through that? And I'm not going to go deep into the fact that it's not a phone. I just want to impress upon you, don't think about mobile as a mobile phone. It's a mobile device. There is now more power in a device today than NASA had all across NASA to get 2 people to the moon. So consumers have more capability in their pocket or in their briefcase or whatever it might be than ever before. At the same time, it's beyond the Apple or Android or app. You know, we look at breaking it down into 3 areas: the planning, the delivery, and the measuring. And within the delivery, there's, you know, the messaging, browsing, and downloading. Across all of this, you have organizations that try to do everything. You have organizations that try to do one thing very well, but this is what's necessary in order to deploy mobile within an enterprise. There are basics, though. There are some guidelines. The first is it's really important to remember that mobile is part marketing and part operations. So you have to remember that mobile is based on utility and functionality, but you just can't rely on that utility or functionality alone. The second thing is mobile is best part of a multi-channel campaign. It's a natural complement. It doesn't mean that everything should be mobile 100%. It needs to be part of a broad mix of communications, but at the same time, its effectiveness is elevated when you think about the role it plays. And that's really around immediacy and what we like to call snackability, little short bits of content. Next, which is good for us, is that we believe it's the ultimate relationship mechanism. And the thing about mobile is because it's such a personal device and there's so much opportunity with that, you have to trust, you're going to risk alienating them from the start. And that there needs to be a value exchange when you reach out to whoever you're trying to tackle or talk to in your marketing through mobile. That value exchange needs to be, you give me this and I'll give you that. It needs to be clearly stated, or it's just going to be a one-way versus two-way. And then last but not least, mobile is an ideal way to get close to a consumer. The notion of proximity. These all come together in order to drive what are some of the key benefits that mobile plays: utility, functional, immediacy, snackability, trust, value, proximity. Those are the basics that organizations need to focus on as they think about mobile and make sure that they've answered these so that they have a strong strategy. The last thing I'd say is that there's a lot of hope and a lot of hype out there, and how do you discern the difference between the two? And it really starts with the consumers, where you've got a lot of critical mass, like we talked about, yet there's new and new services coming on every day that people just don't know how to do. Next, the devices. Obviously, the technology is advancing very rapidly, yet there's so many options. Smartphone adoptions aren't there yet. People still have, you know, standard phones quite a bit. The carriers themselves, they're gaining speed, but at the same time, they're not always on the same page. They're not always on the same page in terms of the relationship they have with us as customers and the relationships they have within each other. And then the last is technology. Services are continuing to mature. With new and new technologies emerging every day, it's really hard to understand what are the standards, both regionally and globally. MMA is doing a great job trying to standardize for the major things, but there's a lot of things underneath all of that, that there are just too many players, and consolidation hasn't sped up as fast as you might think.